Hello, listeners. This is Amorgate Radio Communications. Welcome to another episode of our program, Talent Attraction and Retention Strategies. I am your host, Titilola Ogushona. Talent attraction speaks to the various methods, processes, and strategies that HR and talent managers have to adapt to make the workplace attractive to potential workers. And when I talk about professional workforce, the focus should include both passive and active candidates. What do I mean? Active candidates are those currently applying for specific or currently open positions. You have advertised for a role and are people actively seeking opportunities for that role. These are the active candidates, the active talents. Okay, and we also have the passive candidates. These are those who want to keep in the pipeline. They're not those that are actively looking to change their current job positions, but they're also potential talents that your organization will benefit from hiring. And talent attraction also involves building a company's culture that would attract potential talents to organizations. Have you ever wondered why some candidates would never consider your organization? I remember about 2 decades ago when I was applying for a job, I was a fresh graduate, finished my youth service, and I wanted to work in the banking industry. There were about 23 banks in the country back then, but interestingly, I only applied, sent my resume to just four. So what was it about the four banks that made me, think of working with them? What was it about those four banks that caught my attention? And what was it about the many banks, the many 19 banks that I did not even bother sending my resume to? Now, imagine as an organization, you're already looking at it and saying, what are those things? What is that kind of organizational culture that top talents are looking out for that will attract top talent? Now, you might wonder, why is talent attraction important? There's some surprising statistics, and they're quite interesting. Well, from survey, it's gathered that 4 million American workers quit their jobs each month. That is huge. 4 million workers quitting their jobs every month. Now, it's another also revealed that 66% of employers have increased the hiring activity. And do not forget that recruitment process not only takes time, it also takes up resources of organization, not just your time, your resources, your talents, your financial resources in particular. And another also show that more than half of North American software engineers are approached by recruiters at least once a quarter. That is in a sector where there is stiff competition. So you see that organizations are seeking ways, adopting new strategies to get to attract top talent. And it's interesting. So with all of these statistics, it becomes imperative to adopt the right strategies to attract talent into your organization. I'll be looking at one strategy that an organization or firm can adopt, and that is building a compelling employer value proposition. It's building, I'll take it again, a compelling employer value proposition. This speaks to how you can project your organization or firm to be an employer of choice. I stated earlier, I wanted to work in the bank. I had options of 23 banks in my country back then, but I only sent out my resume to just four banks out of the 23. So it means there's something about that organization's employer value proposition that attracted me. And that is strong enough to attract top talent to your organization. So if you're looking at it, how do you build? And if you have already an existing employer value proposition, how can you enhance your current employer value proposition? What the acronym stands for, EVP, employer value proposition. Okay, so let's look at what it is. What is an employer value proposition? This summarizes everything that organization has in the offering for prospective candidates. It summarizes everything that you want to offer. And it's important in an organization that you are deliberate about building this. You are deliberate about building your brand so that you can attract the right set of people to your organization. Now, if you look at employer value proposition, it's always known that there are 5 core pillars of it. I'll mention the 5 core pillars. You have the compensation. How do you compensate your top talent? You have career. That is career opportunity for top talents that would make them want to work with you. We are talking about the benefits again. What benefits are there in your organization that have made provision for that top talent will be looking at seeking for? We are talking about the culture. What are the cultural practices in your organization that can attract top talent to your organization? And also the 5th pillar, which is what is the work environment. What kind of work environment do you have in your organization that would make talent feel secured in the organization? And you could ask me, what is the importance of employer value proposition? Why am I saying that is even the first thing you should strive to adopt as a strategy if you are thinking of attracting top talent? This is because it helps to attract both active and passive job seekers. It's because if you are talking about building an environment where top talent, current employees will feel valued, recognized, and appreciated. People look beyond the paycheck. People look beyond the salaries. They look beyond the currency that you give to them. They want an environment where they can see themselves as adding value to the organization. They want an environment where they be recognized for their talent. They want an environment where they can grow beyond the paycheck that you give them monthly or in terms of wages, daily or a weekly basis. Why is EVP important? It's also important because it helps to enhance and build the image of an organization. It speaks to your brand. It speaks to what you stand for. And you know that once you have that kind of brand, your employer value proposition also helps you to increase the level of commitment of both new and existing employees. Now, interestingly, you're talking about attracting top talent to your organization. What about existing talent in organization? How are you treating them? Okay, if you have a very strong, compelling employer value proposition, which makes you an employer of choice, even your attrition rate will be very low because people, your talent in your organization, your workforce will be actively engaged. They will be committed. They will own the process. They want to give in their best because they can also, feel fulfilled working in that kind of environment. And what does it even do for you? Is because, like I said, it's going to decrease employee turnover. So if employer value proposition, the EVP, can achieve all, even more, all of these things I've mentioned, a starting point for you as an organization is to revisit your employer value proposition. Now, some organization will ask me, what do I mean? Well, we have one here already. Yes, but it's time for you to sit back and go back to analyze if your current EVP strategy is still efficient, if it's still active. You find out if it's still relevant, because that is the starting point of evaluating what you have. And for those who do not even have it already in the organization, where what you see is let us just attract talent, and you are serious about attracting top talent, because it has changed. Talent these days want more flexibility. Talent these days more opportunities for growth. It's not just about the salary. It's not about the paycheck anymore. So because it has changed, it's important that as an organization, we have to go strategic and deliberate about projecting ourselves as an employer of choice so that even top talent will seek to work with us. Now, let's look at those steps. Not necessary in order of importance, but I would say that is a good starting point. And I say the first step in building a compelling employer value proposition is to define your employee personnel. You don't leave anything to chance. You have to be deliberate about it. You need to define the kind of people you want to attract as an organization, as a firm. As a business unit, you need to define what kind of people do I want. In reality, for any business, name anything, HR organization, consulting firm, the banking sector, let's go back to the fast-moving consumer goods. We have different units in every sector. The important thing is that you realize that you need different skill sets, okay, to achieve something, okay? You have people that you need people with sometimes accounting skills. technology skills. Some people with audit skills. You need some people with the HR skills, leadership skills. There are different skill sets you are going to use. Supply chain skills, logistics. You have people with different skill sets. You're going to need different people. So you have to be deliberate about defining what kind of skill set do I need? What kind of people do I need? Now, in addition to this, you need to even define the kind of experiences. Is it 0 to 5? Is it 5 to 10? In what industry are they coming from? You have to define it. Okay, when you have to define it, what will come in reality is that you are defining the kind of skill set, you are defining where they have worked, and that gives you an idea into what you think would motivate them. And it's also important to you might need to segment your employee value proposition, your EVP, by different target personnel. Now, we are talking about 0 to 5 years experience, for instance. What is going to attract a millennial is going to different from what attracts a Gen Z. It's different. We have different people. So what's going to attract somebody in mid-level, early career life is different from what will attract, motivate somebody in the mid-level career life, somebody in senior level management. It's really different. So you need to define these things. Defining them makes it easier for you to know how you go forward from here. Because in reality, like level, senior level. So you need to define what kind of people are you seeking to attract. What kind of people do you want, to come on board? The second step, once you have defined this, you are clear about the skill set that you need. You are clear about the work experiences. You are clear about the personality of those you want. Because when you are even recruiting, you're talking about the technical core competencies, you're talking about the behavioral competencies. Now, because you're already thinking about it, someone who is a sanguine, the temperamental level will be different from another one. So you're already defining the kind of personality. It allows your organization to now look at it strategically, holistically, how to motivate these people. Now it takes me to my second one. Once you have defined your employee personnel, what do you need to do again to build a compelling employer value proposition? The second, what I would say, is for you to review your current offering. What do I mean? What are you offering presently? Now, interestingly, before the pandemic, some organizations did not see the possibility around, flexible work hours. Some did not see the possibility around virtual meetings. Some did not even see the possibility around hybrid meetings. Some did not even see the possibility of even doing conferences, virtually. But post-pandemic, and post-pandemic, you see that that's our new normal. Okay, now it means that you are going to ask yourself as an organization, your current offering, can you match up with what the present global climate wants? The demands of the business climate right now, can your current offering match up with it? Is it sufficient enough to attract the right set of people? These are things you need to examine. Now, what I would advise in a way to get strategic around this is that when you review your current offering, you can review it around the 5 pillars dimensions. Okay, and what I'm saying, because it gives you, that strategic angle to it, and you can review it around compensation, career, benefits, culture, work environment. When you are reviewing it helps you to know where do you need to improve upon. In fact, it also reviews areas that you have a competitive edge. Because some people have competitive advantages, some friends, and they do not even know about. So when you are reviewing around this, okay, it gives you, that template to see what are you doing well, and again, your performance improvement zone becomes obvious to you. What area do you need to improve upon? If you are just joining us, thank you so much. You are speaking to one of the strategies of attracting top talent, and what I'm speaking to is how to build a compelling employer value proposition, EVP. And we are still on it. We're talking about around the 5 core pillars. Now, other episode will look at each of these pillars specifically. I'll just mention one or two. In terms of compensation, how do you handle this as an employer, as an organization? You are looking at salary satisfaction. Are people satisfied with their current salary? You are looking at even raises, promotions. Do you have well-defined performance management framework in place that people get promoted? They know the criteria, promotions, exercises, carried out in the organization. Are you doing this according to global standards, global practices? Now, you even talk about timelines. Now, you even talk about fairness in terms of compensation. Are you fair? I remember that particular organization I had to consult for, and I had to do industry survey to know if the salaries they were paying was actually competitive. And I realized that when they increased their salary, that was 5 years prior to the time when I took on the consulting job, they were one of the highest paid in the industry. But within the space of 5 year period, other competitors had raised salary by over 80%. And the organization was still, on what they increased 5 years ago. Now, could they afford to pay? Yes. But they did not see the need to pay because there was nobody reviewing. Until we came in as consultant and now get to look at it and we had to review. Prior to when we came in again, at point of entry, the attrition rate was as high as 75%. But when we came in, the attrition rate fell significantly because we went back for our post-evaluation, project evaluation, fell to less than 3.5%. Now, what I'm saying is compensation, we need to attract top talent, you need, to review these core elements. Okay, the 5 pillars. The second, benefit. Like I said, salary alone is not what, the paycheck alone is not what motivates talent these days. You look at pay time off. Some want flexible work hours, whether you like it or not. Some will tell you, look, I cannot work in the office, do an 8 to 5 job. They want flexible, they want remote work. These are things people are looking for. Now, for those that, married, is the young couple, they want childcare and family support. I saw that high awareness about health these days. People want better healthcare facilities, well-being. These are pillars that we need to check for you to build a compelling employer value proposition. To become an employer of choice, you need to take this step to check my current EVP. Does it need to be reviewed? Does it have these core elements? If not, please, it's time to go back to the strategy room. It's time to go back to the drawing board. Now, the third step I'm going to mention in building an employer value proposition is there is a need to test the balls of your employees. Now, except is a new company just starting out. But as long as it's not a new company, you have existing employees. The truth is, satisfied employees, current existing employees, will become strong advocates for you. In fact, they know where the talents are. They have peers over there. They have contemporaries, and they become advocates for your organization. And even their friends are looking at them. They see them fulfilled. They know when you are fulfilled when you are working in an environment. So you need to test their pulse. You must. How do we do this? I would advise that we carry out surveys to know what the employees love. Don't think you know what is working. Don't mistake employers do me. The mistake senior executives do me is that you think you know what employees want. You think what you have offered them, is sustainable. You think is the best. But sometimes you are spending money in the wrong areas that will not even motivate them. So you need to test that pulse. Like I said, the focus, attracting talent, the first step is to build a compelling EVP, employer value proposition. So you need to test this in the organization already. And when you carry out surveys, it shows areas of improvement. And what are the questions you could be, some of the sample questions you could be asking them is that you want to know what they even like about the work environment. You are testing one of the pillars of the employee value proposition I mentioned. What do they like about the work environment? So you see if you are getting it right. You want to find out from them what motivates them. So you will know if your current compensation and benefit schemes is actually motivating your employees. If it's not motivating current existing talent in the organization, how do you want to attract top talent from around the globe? You can also add specific development programs they would like. You realize that this would differ across board. Some people want leadership trainings. Some people want core competency trainings in their areas. Some people just want to join, associations, international bodies. Some people just want to go for conferences. So you must find out specific development programs that they would like. Because when you find out and you take that survey, you can draw a trend. If, for instance, those in your other department are saying if they want to take an exam like CFA, and you have like 10 people there, and 8 out of 10 or 9 out of 10 people have filled the survey form, and they're telling you that what they want is to write an personal exam like a CFA, and they want the organization to sponsor them to pay maybe a 50% or a refund after they pass a particular stage on the CFA program. So already what it's telling you, the pointer is telling you is even top talents coming to organization within that same age range are going to be motivated by, that learning development program of writing a CFA in the audit team. So it gives you an idea of specifics. Don't think you know what would motivate them. Don't think you know the best leadership or career development programs for them. No. They know what they want. So your survey should find out these things, and this will help. In fact, you can also find out factors that they find demotivating in the work environment. What are those factors they find demotivating? And the way you should couch your survey should not be too direct. Okay? You must be couched in a way that they do not get evasive. They can really tell you, elicit the right responses. What should be appropriate. Now finding out what is demotivating about the work environment should be spread across the 5 pillars. What do they find demotivating about your compensation scheme? What do they find demotivating about benefit incentives? What do they find demotivating about your career prospects or projections in the organization? What do they find demotivating about existing cultural practices? What do they find demotivating in general about the work environment? These are things you must find out. And when you do this, realize that you also ask them for areas of improvement and you get suggestions from them. Okay? What better way to come up with a robust plan, a robust employer value proposition, if not for the existing workforce? Because they are in it, they have friends in other, don't be deceived, they have friends with competition, they have friends in similar industries all over the globe, and they discuss, they interact on a daily basis. So you can, testing the pulse of your employee goes a long way. And I'm going to add this to it. As an organization that when people leave, management is not deliberate enough about taking exit interviews. Another way to build a more compelling employer value proposition is to gather information from exit interviews. Most importantly, I've seen as an HR consultant, management consultant, that when people leave organizations, sometimes who they actually leave is their managers. Okay? So when you gather exit interviews information for me, it's going to speak to any it speaks around these 5 pillars. Is it leadership? Are they dissatisfied with compensation, benefit? Is there something about the cultural practice in terms of leadership they're not comfortable with? This would really help. Okay? Well, it's interesting that you're joining us. We are talking about building a compelling employer value proposition, becoming an employer of choice, providing yourself as an organization in a strategic way that top talent will seek to work with you. Okay, so it takes me to my last but not the least. Now that based on these findings, what I mean by these findings, from the findings, from the survey that you have taken out, from all of the findings you have gathered from the exit interviews, looking at what a particular generation would motivate a particular generation, top talents are looking out for. Well, based on all of these that you have gathered, what I'm going to advise is at this point, you need to define the key components of your EVP, or you need to redefine. If you have an existing employer value proposition, now if you have looked around all of these criteria that I've mentioned and there's a need for you to redefine, based on these findings, it's now time to redefine the key components of your EVP. Now, there are some critical issues that you could actually look at when you're redefining that I'm going to mention again. The first, what learning and development opportunities are my prospective candidates or talent looking for? I've mentioned, for those in audit, might be being a certified financial analyst, or some it could be just ICANN. For another, it could be something else. For those in IT, it could be different things they're looking out for. So you have to look at the key components. You are looking at what are the learning and development opportunities that top talents in various units, business units, in various sectors. What are they looking out for? It's important. You have different units in your organization. So across those units, you need to find out what learning and development opportunities are the prospective talent looking for. Now, you need to also find out that what kind of cultural practices would not just attract them, would also retain them. So there is need for you to go back to your culture audit. I remember in one of my previous series, I mentioned we did something on culture. We took about 2 to 3 weeks on culture. The way people behave in organization, the value system of organization matters. So you need to find out what is core, what is there to top talent. What do they find non-negotiable? Do they want an environment of respect? Do they prioritize flexibility? Do they prioritize excellence? So you have to find out what they actually prioritize, what is dear to their heart, because that is the way you can not just attract this talent you're talking about, but also retain talent. And you need to, after defining your employer value proposition, you need to communicate it clearly. It must be deliberately communicated. It must be clearly disseminated so that top talent can have access to it. So that's why we talk about the communication strategy of an organization. Once you have redefined your employer value proposition, there might be need for you to go back to redefine your communication strategy, so that you know how do you communicate who you are, how do you communicate your offerings. Some people have a lot of beautiful offerings, but top talent cannot see it. I always say you need to market yourself. You need to let them know. It's a marketing strategy. You need to let them know what they stand to experience. You must sell the employee experience. That's what I'm going to say. The employee experience, expected employee experience, must be deliberately communicated, sold to the people. Because like I said, we have both active and passive. So passive are not actually looking out for you, but how do you project yourself in a way that you become a part of that subconscious state, and when they actually want to move from their present offering to another one, they would remember you. So it's important. If we can do all of this, I know that it's going to help us to build a compelling employer value proposition, which is the first step in the right direction in attracting top talent. Thank you so much for staying to the end of this episode. I hope that you have learned one or two things. You've also looked at the importance and the steps in building a compelling employer value proposition. Okay, you have comments for us, feedback, questions. Can you send a mail to contact@thearmorgate.org? And if you have learned anything, kindly click the like button. And you can also send a message to our WhatsApp line, +234 8079574151, +234 8079574151. And you can also check out Armorgate social media platforms, Facebook, Instagram. You get us there, drop any message there for us as well. Well, before I draw the curtain on this episode, I'm going to leave us with the words of Leslie W. George, which says, effective talent acquisition starts with a sound strategy, a conscious decision regarding what methods and approaches to use to identify, source, and secure the best talent in the market. Thank you for staying tuned once again. Hope you join us same station, same time next week. It's bye from here. I remain Titilola Ogushonu.